أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا مولانا أبي القاسم وأهل بيت الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من يومنا هذا إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في الكتاب المبين والقرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإنا من شيعته لإبراهيم صلوات.
ما شاء الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد.
So, this is the second speech today, and as we discussed yesterday, or we mentioned yesterday, this year inshallah we will concentrate on the topic of Shia Islam and Shiat. Yesterday we talked about some of the manifestations of our grief and some of the blessings of this month of Muharram, and why we cry and why we do the symbolic things. And inshallah today we'll talk about the word Shia, the origin of it, the origin of this mazhab, if you like, and why is it original Islam? How is it original Islam? And inshallah we'll talk about the evidences of this in Quran, inshallah in ahadith, and also from history. Brothers and sisters, Shia is not a new word or a terminology. It's an ancient one. And in fact, in some ways is older than the word Islam. There are evidences upon evidences that not only it's a word that has been in use for some time, but it's a word which is liked by Allah Ta'ala and Rasulullah. And it has been in use for a very, very long time. There is an accusation on our religion, Shia Islam, that it's a new invention. Some people would say, who want to accuse our religion, that Shia is a religion of protest. In fact, there is a new book which has come out not in the very old time, just within the last year, Religion of Protest. Some people will say it's a political movement. Many tell us that Shia Islam originated after the death of Rasulullah at Saqifa, when there was a dispute of who will become Khalifa. Some tell us that it came into being or after the death of the third Khalifa, Hazrat Usman, when there was groups who wanted Hazrat Ali to be Khalifa, and they were called Shia. Some people tell us that really the Shia started in the times of Hazrat Ali's Khilafat, and those who supported him against others in Jang-e-Jamal and Jang-e-Siffin, they were called Shia. This is all rubbish, to be honest, to be frank. This is all false. And inshallah we will talk about this in a few seconds. And I'm not trying to say, when I say that Shia Islam or Shia is a word which is probably, if not older than the word Islam, then as old as Islam. But I'm not trying to say that they are two different things. Shia Islam is the real Islam, is the original Islam. And in fact, Shia and Islam can be used for the one and the same thing, interchangeably. Because they are one and the same thing, to be honest. And the ayat that I recited today as the subject heading of today's talk is the ayat number 83 of 37th surah of Quran, S Zafar. And that Allah Ta'ala says, introducing Hazrat Ibrahim, he says that وَإِنَّا مِنْ شِيَعَتِهِ لِإِبْرَاهِيمَ, and among the Shias of Nuh was Ibrahim.
MashaAllah.
So it is totally obvious that Allah Ta'ala does not dislike this word. In fact, he likes this word so much so that he introduces a prophet of the status of Ibrahim as a Shia. So if Ibrahim can be a Shia and be proud of it, what is our status?
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
So you see, it is a nice word, and as someone who follows the same path, the same faith, the same religion, and this therefore puts a lot of pressure on us. When we say we are Shias of Ali, what are we saying? It's not a small thing. We are saying we are on the same path, same religion and same faith as Maulai Kainat.
MashaAllah.
So this is our status, and like I said, it's not a small thing, because now we are claiming to be in the ranks of the likes of Salman Farsi, of Abu Zar al-Ghifari, of Ammar Yasir, of Huzaifat al-Yamani, of Miqdad bin Aswad, of Ambar, of Fizza, of Malik Ashtar. That's what we are claiming to be. So if anything, this is a big claim. And authentic sources will tell us that these great Sahaba of Rasulullah were called Shia even during the times of Rasulullah himself.
MashaAllah.
And
MashaAllah.
not only that, some people called them Shia and Ali. The biggest person in the world, Rasulullah himself, called them Shia and Ali.
MashaAllah.
And I'll produce some evidences. I don't have enough time to go on all the details, but some Sunni sources tell us that Rasulullah said, Ya Ali, Abshar fa innaka wa ashabuka wa shiyatuka fil jannah. Oh Ali, congratulations for you, your Sahaba and your Shia will be in Jannah. And this hadith that I just quoted is quoted by people of the status of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, for which there is a faith, the full faith of Hanbalis, and Allama ibn Hajar in Sawaful Muharram. And in another hadith, Rasulullah said, while he was looking at Hazrat Ali's face, he said, Haza wa shiyatihi humul faizuna fi yawm al-qiyamah. This man, Hazrat Ali, this man and his Shia are successful in the day of judgment. So not only he introduced people as Shia and Ali, but also congratulated them.
MashaAllah.
And like I said, I don't have time to go more into the details of this, so I think what I will do is tell you a nice story from history to show that in fact Shia Islam is the real and the original Islam.
Bismillah.
And it's a, if you like, a funny story, but it's a history story, and inshallah you will enjoy it, because at the end of this there will be a message which will show again that it is indeed the Shia Islam is the real and the original Islam.
Bismillah.
As you know, we Shias are the only group who claim to be Muslims, Shias, and in fact Sunni, all at the same time. This is just us, this group called Shia Muslims, who are Muslims, Shia and Sunni. And again, we don't have time to go into much more details of this, but I'll just recommend you to read that book of Allama Tijani Samawi, which is actually said that Shias are the real Ahl Sunnah.
MashaAllah.
As you know, there are some 4 more faiths apart from Shias. There are 4 more faiths in Islam. They are Hanbalis, Malikis, Shafi'is, and which one are there is? Hanafi, Maliki, Shafi'i and Hanbali. 4 faiths. Yes? We all know that. Which name of these, mashallah, you have all read Quran. Which of these names has been mentioned in Quran? None of them. The only name which has been mentioned in Quran, as I said, is Shia.
MashaAllah.
So, or in Hadith, no other fiqh has been mentioned apart from Shia. So this little story I'll say that in a minute, but again a disclaimer to say that I must stress that when Rasulullah said Shia and Islam, Nauzubillah, he never intended to divide Muslims between two Islams. Never. He in fact wanted to unite Muslims
MashaAllah.
in the leadership or under the leadership of Imam Ali alayhi salam. There's no question of division, it's only union. And he announced the successorship or his successorship or the leadership of Hazrat Ali right from the beginning when he announced his own prophethood and the Tawheed. At the same breath in Dawat Azul Ashira, for example, he mentioned the successorship of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Right from the beginning, throughout his prophethood and to the end, the last biggest gathering of Muslims at Ghadir Khum, he again announced the imamat of Hazrat Ali alayhi salam. And so we really are very lucky to be Shia. So what about that little story that I was mentioning? So there was this king of Iran called King Muhammad, who later became more famous and known as Shah Khuda Banda. I think you probably would have Shah Khuda Banda, so I'll just call him Shah Khuda Banda. In 13th or 14th century, Iran was not a Shia country. It was a totally Sunni Muslim country. And Shah Khuda Banda was obviously the ruler. For some reason, he had to call, I can see the time is ticking, so I'll try and make it short. For some reason, he had to call the greatest mujtahid of Shias at that time, Allama Hilli, to his court.
MashaAllah.
And it's another very good and brilliant story. If you had time to read about this, I recommend you. Why did he call him? But there's no time to go into this. But nevertheless, he called Allama Hilli to his court. And Allama Hilli came. And he came in a strange way. It was the first time he came to the court of the king.
MashaAllah.
As he entered the court or darbar, he took his shoes off. He did some other funny things as well, but the relevant thing I'm only talking about, he took his shoes off, put them in his hands, and went to his seat and sat there. And that darbar of Shah Khuda Banda was occupied by lots of ulama of Hanbali, Shafi, Maliki and Hanafi. And they were already very upset and jealous that why he had to call a Shia a Rafidi in this court. And they wanted to prevent and protect their own faiths and religions, and they were very anxious about it. And they thought that was the time to pick on him and insult him. So they started complaining that, look, what, he's just a Gawar Jangli. He doesn't even know how to enter the court. He's insulted you, king. So why? He took his shoes in his hands as if we are thieves here in your court. What's going on? So Shah Khuda Banda asked Allama Hilli, why did he do that? He said, yes, there's a reason I did that. And the reason is from history. In the days of Rasulullah went somewhere to meet somebody and he left his shoes outside. And when he left his shoes outside, met somebody, came out, a Hanafi person stole his shoes and went away. So I did not want my shoes to be stolen, so I did that. Well, that made Hanafi person, the ulama of Hanafi religion sitting in the court very furious. He said, what you're talking about? How is that possible? King is lying. How do you mean he's lying? He's lying because Imam Abu Hanifa was born 150 years after Rasulullah. How can his follower be there to steal his shoes? Allama said, oh yes, that's right. So maybe I'm mistaken. Perhaps it was a Shafi'i Muslim who did that. Now the Shafi'i ulama got furious. What's going on? Imam Shafi was born even later, more than 150 years after Rasulullah. How could his follower be there? Not alone him, his follower stealing his shoes. Not even possible. That's a lie accusation. No, maybe my memory is failing me. It was perhaps an Hanbali person who did that. And then the Hanbali person got up and said, well, come on, it's not possible. So alright, okay, maybe it was a Shafi. And this Shafi person got angry this time. Said, well, what's false accusations, lies, and this man doesn't even know anything. And that was enough. And then Allama Hilli turned towards Shah Khuda Banda and said, King, did you hear? Did you hear? Neither Hanbali, nor Shafi, nor Maliki, nor Hanafi were there. Not alone them, their leaders were not even born 150 years after Rasulullah. And I am Shia of Ali. And Ali ibn Abi Talib was directly there listening to the Prophet, taking messages and orders and the rules and laws of Islam directly from the Prophet. So the original and the real Islam could be nothing but Shia Islam. And again, like I said before, this is nothing, this is not an attempt to attack anybody or insult anybody. This is just to show that those people who call us Shia Islam as an invention following after many years of Prophet, they were not themselves there at all at the time of Rasulullah when the Shias of Rasulullah were there. So dear friends, take pride in your faith. Know and be content and thank Allah that we are Shias. We are Shia Muslims, which is the synonymous and exactly the same interchangeable word as Islam. Our great mujtahid of the time, Ayatollah Ali Hussain Sistani, he said that Sunni brothers are not brothers. They are from among us. They are nafs. They are our nafs, like we are their nafs. So they are not separate from us at all. So again, I'm not trying to say or insult any religion. I'm just trying to say that our children and ourselves need to know the facts and need to know where we come from. It is nothing but a lie and a false propaganda that Shiat was a movement or political movement or a religion of protest or was born at Saqifa or at the time of Hazrat Usman or the time of Imam Ali alayhi salam. May Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq to follow the true Islam and be the true Mu'min and true Shia of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Inshallah, tomorrow we will talk briefly about our first leader, Imam Ali alayhi salam. Wama alayna illa al-balagh. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.